Since 2011, any new entrants into the public service have been starting on a lower salary than their peers. This includes civil servants, nurses and teachers. In recent years, there has been growing demands, particularly by teachers, for pay equality. I spoke to secondary school teacher and TUI member Tara Walsh about how the inequality has affected her and other teachers. Tara, would you tell me first a little bit about when you became a teacher and why you decided to become a teacher?
Okay, I qualified as a teacher in 2012 after doing my dip, a year of a dip. And I suppose, why did I become a teacher? My dad before me was a teacher, and there'd be a lot of teachers in my family, so it was something I was always drawn to. And I don't know, I felt like it was something I'd be good at. But I suppose now that I am a teacher, I just love working with young people. I'm a secondary school teacher. I work with teenagers every day, and it's tough going, but the reward that you get back from it, some days when, you know, a kid that didn't get something gets it suddenly, it's just an amazing feeling. There's a kind of, I suppose, a very rewarding aspect to it.
And you said you started in 2012, so you're one of those teachers who were on the new lower pay. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
So for anybody that qualified as a teacher from 2011 onwards, there is a different pay scale in place for those people than for people who qualified before 2011. So in practice, what that means is, I'll give you an example. If I have a colleague who qualified before 2011 and they are on point 10 of the pay scale now today, the money that they are earning on point 10 of the pay scale will not be the same as the money that I earn when I reach point 10 of the pay scale. There'll be a disparity there. I will make less. So on the same point of two different pay scales, I will be making less.
And how has that impacted on you personally over the years that you've been working as a teacher?
There's two aspects. There's the practical impact on your life, obviously, and there's also the impact that it has psychologically. So I'll talk about the practical impact of it first. What I see happening now particularly is that in 2011, when this kind of disparity was first introduced, the people that were mostly impacted by it, now I'm not saying all people that were impacted by it, but the people that were mostly impacted by it were teachers in their 20s, young teachers. Now, of course, there are new teachers starting out that are much older than that, but mostly it was people in their 20s. And I suppose when you start your first job out of college, you're making money that you never made before, so you think, 1,200 quid a month, that's deadly, I'm jackpot. And so you don't really feel the disparity as much. But what's happening now is we've had this inequality in place for 7 years, and people who started out in their 20s are now in their 30s. And for me personally, I'm looking around at my peers on a night out, and I look at my friends who might have chosen another job, or friends that qualified as teachers before me, and I'm saying, well, all these people have their own house. I'm literally the only person sitting here that can't afford my own house, and that doesn't have any prospect of ever affording my own house. And similarly, I have two teacher friends now who would love to start a family but aren't in a position to do so because they couldn't afford to cater for the child. So there are social milestones now for people who are in their 30s now and affected by this that we can't reach because financially we're not able to do so. Sorry.
And tell me, you were talking about emotionally and mentally. How does that inequality affect you?
So when you're working in a staff room alongside your colleagues who are doing the same job as you, and you're doing the same work, working as hard as each other, you might get on brilliantly on a personal level, you still have this sense of, I'm not worth the same as that person. I'm not valued in the same way as that person is. And it doesn't, I'm not saying it doesn't create any tension between us as colleagues, because there is always this sense of solidarity between us. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there is a sense of dropping morale amongst those of us that are not being paid the same.
And tell me a little bit about what's been happening and what teachers are trying to do about this to change the situation.
Well, there are obviously 3 teachers' trade unions, and they're doing work behind the scenes, obviously, for the last 7 years. But there is a growing movement of lower paid teachers, as we're called, in the 3 trade unions, the INTO, the ASTI and the TUI, who are increasingly frustrated by the pay inequality and active members of the 3 trade unions. But there's definitely, I feel at the moment, a push from lower paid teachers to say, okay, enough is enough now. We're really tired of this. It's been 7 years. We'd like strong action on this now at this stage.
And what would you like to say to the minister or to the government about this, and what is your demand from them?
For me, it's very frustrating for me when I see the minister going around giving these, showing up and giving these talks with kind of vacuous phrases like big data and machine learning and all of this. And when I have to stop and think, well, who are the people that are providing the workforce for you to go around talking about STEM subjects and getting Facebook and Google into the country? Who are the people that are educating the workforce for you, and how much do you value those people? It is very frustrating for me when I hear that, and I think, as we know, there are huge tax breaks being provided for companies such as Google and Facebook. And it's as if the message from the government is, we really value companies like Google and Facebook. We really value them. We can make a lot of money off of them. If only they could find a way to make money off of us, is how I feel. And certainly to me there seems to be a sense of I would say almost disdain for workers who provide a service to the public, who work in the service of society: teachers, midwives, nurses, bus drivers, train drivers. So I would convey my frustration to the minister, and I would say, it's time we started valuing us.
And what do you think about now that there is a recovery? Do you feel that teachers are getting a fair share of the recovery?
Obviously not, I suppose. There's kind of this repeated maxim that where are we going to get the money to pay the teachers? The money was there to pay the banks when the banks were in trouble. Huge amounts of money were there, and that money came from us as taxpayers. I think now that the message is being put out there by the government that the economy is much better than it was, that money should now be given back.
And what would you say to other teachers who are in the same position as you?
So the first thing is that you should definitely get involved and get active in the fight, I suppose, for pay equality. Don't feel that somebody else will do it for you. There are concrete things you can do. You can write to your TD, you can email your TD, you can request a meeting with your TD, and also you can get active on social media. The visibility on social media, I feel, is really important. And also very important is to go to your local branch meetings, get involved in your trade union.